Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Noble Knight Marty here. We're back at it again. So take a seat at the round table. Now, I don't know about you, but I have loved the Link of Reigns era. The deck's outstanding. The characters, outstanding. Shows the best it's been since the DM era. Don't at me, 5Ds fans. And my personal favorite has got to be the Blue Angel, or Blue Maiden, whatever you want to call her. I played Trickstars well past their prime. And quite frankly, once we get Life Stage back to 3, I'm going to keep playing them. Hashtag uncage the stage. But today, we don't have that, of course. We have Marincess Paleo Frogs, or Princess and the Frog. Real spicy. Love this deck. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, you already know we got to start out with the Marincess lineup. The ultimate waifu. 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang. Next, you got the 2 Marincess Pascalis. Yes, I only play 2. It tends to get a little bricky if you draw multiples because you can't special summon her off of her own effect. But when you get into more grindy games, it's really helpful to have the recursion of Marincess Wave and a Battle Ocean. So you gotta have 2 at least. 2 copies of Marincess Seahorse. And the 1 copy of Marincess Mandarin. Next, we are going to hop into our frog lineup. We got 3 copies of Swap Frog. Looks amazing in its ultra rare printing out of Dual Overload. We got 2 copies of Ronin Totem, which is not a hard once per turn. Absolutely nuts. Really comes in clutch sometimes. And then the 1 copy of Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog does tend to miss timing a lot, which is very inconvenient, which is why I'm only playing it at 1, but it still does come up. Next, we got some water extenders. 2 copies of Tingy Spirit Shatana to help out with the Abyss Dweller plays, and the 1 copy of Sea Archiver. It is searchable by Signet Mining, so you only have to play the 1. And last but not least, for the monster lineup, we have 1 copy of Prohibit Snake, again, searchable by Signet Mining, and the 1 Garnet Artifact Scythe, because we play a very heavy trap lineup, part of which, of course, includes the Artifact Engine. So, next we're going to move on to some of our spells. You know, of course, for Cyber's decks, we got to have 3 copies of Signet Mining. Definitely just dropped in price, which is great for people who are looking to play the less competitive Cyber's decks. We got 3 copies of Called by the Grave. It is very combo heavy, so you have to make sure your combos always go off. 2 copies of Marincess Battle Ocean. A lot of people only play 1 of, but I find that if you get this hit with Cosmic Cyclone, you kind of lose your win con. Not completely, but it's okay to play 2. And then, because we play so many 3-ofs, you do play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Card says draw 2. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Next up, we play a little Paleozoic engine. We got Paleozoic Dynamiscus at 2, and actually 2 copies of Paleozoic Canadia, because this deck is for Master Rule 5, which means Canadia gets its power back with not so many Link heavy decks running around the meta, and it helps out, of course, to make multiple copies of Totally Awesome. And last but not least, for the main deck, we got 3 copies of Marincess Wave. Deck has an in-archetype impermanence, which is always awesome. 3 copies of Artifact Sanctum. And 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. So, for the extra deck lineup, it is a very tight extra deck space, not a lot of room for innovation, but it's still pretty awesome. We got the standard Marincess stuff, 2 Marincess Blue Slug, and the 1 Marincess Sea Angel to search out your field spell. Your 2 Marincess Crystal Heart, 2 Marincess Coral Anemone, 2 copies of Marincess Marbled Rock. I like to go into this monster more than the Link 4, but I do still play the 1 copy of Marincess Wonderheart. To round off the extra deck, we got 2 copies of Totally Awesome, the 1 Paleozoic Anomalocaris, 1 copy of Miss Starboy, and the 1 Abyss Dweller. Now, you already know side deck is always up to personal preference. You can cater it a little more to what you're playing at your local scene or whatever tournament you're going to next. But right now, I'm playing 3 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being, 2 copies of Super Polymerization, the 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Playing a little back row hate, we got 2 copies of Twin Twister and the 1 Red Reboot. Paleozoic Olenoides, and then 2 Ash Blossom, and our Super Poly targets, of course, Mud Dragon of the Swamp and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So, there you have it. Princess and the Frog for the start of the match rule. I am really looking forward to it, but tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. What deck would you like to see me do next as well? Until then, I will catch you all next time at the round table.